Unexplained phenomena, like paranormal and UFO events, are such compelling topics that capture the attention of almost everyone. Often, they become the subjects of table talk, experiences shared in the coziness of our homes while having tea on a rainy Wednesday evening. These stories take up mental space, making you wonder if tonight, when you get in bed, you will have sweet dreams or nightmares. But what happens when the tale becomes a reality? When there is no longer someone telling you a story and you become its main witness? How would you react if you lived it firsthand? Welcome to Chilean Spooky Tales, where we talk about Chilean stories for sleepless nights. Let's begin.
Chilean Spooky Tales.
Back in the 60s, before my grandparents got married, my grandfather, who was around 18 at the time, used to live in the town of Puente Alto. He would travel all the way from Puente Alto to Pirque on his bike to visit my grandmother. One particular day, after spending the afternoon with her, my grandfather got on his bike and headed back home along a dirt road called El Llano. Since there were no light poles, he relied solely on the moon to see the road. As he rode back, he noticed something over his shoulder. When he looked, he saw a fireball floating over his right shoulder. It didn't touch him or anything. This fire was just following him. As expected, he got really scared and started to go faster so that he could leave this fireball behind. However, it didn't matter how fast he went. The fireball kept pace with him. The only way in or out of El Llano was through a wooden gate, but as it was dark and he'd gained so much speed trying to leave this fireball behind, it was difficult for him to see if the gate was open or not, and he ended up crashing his bike right into the gate. He used to ride a road bike and it got wrecked after the crash, so he had to continue the rest of the way on foot until he made it home safely. But the memory of this flying fireball stuck with him until he shared it with his children and the rest of the family. This is one of two stories I'll be sharing with you today featuring orbs. An orb is a spherical phenomenon of light often captured on camera. They are commonly attributed to a form of energy, as they tend to appear near aninitas, also known as roadside shrines in English, or places where people have passed away. But don't be fooled. Just like the experience you're about to hear, these orbs can appear anywhere, anytime. Hello.
Follow us for more spooky tales.
This happened in 2019, before the social uprising in Chile. I had just moved into my boyfriend's place where he'd been living for about a year. It was well past 11 and we were rearranging the master bedroom. Being the last house on a dead-end street, this house was very dark. The garden had no lights and the light poles weren't very close to it. It was getting cold and I hadn't taken all my stuff there yet. So I asked my boyfriend if he had a hoodie I could borrow. He said yes and he pointed me to the next room. This other room was also facing the garden. It was very small and I remember it always had the window open. So when I entered this time, it was no exception. As soon as I walk into the room, I see a big sphere of light floating out of the window at about 5 feet from where I was standing. It was passing by, leaving a sort of veil waving behind. I called my boyfriend, who was coming behind me, and told him, "There is a ball shining." He glanced at me and the window, but the orb was gone. I called my family, but as I was the only witness, I had no proof of what had happened. Then I shrugged it off and moved on with my life. After the excitement I felt those first few seconds, it dawned on me that what I'd seen had no logical explanation. We lived in that house for about a year, and I couldn't shake the feeling that if I entered the room, this ball of light would be there again. This is my personal story, and as I mentioned before, I would be lying if I said that I didn't feel anything after that encounter. For about a year after that, I would often feel a bit reluctant to keep my curtains open at night. But thankfully, as with most paranormal encounters, I never saw it again. Well, there you have it. 2 different stories describing this mysterious glowing orb phenomenon. Thanks for sticking with us on another episode and hope you have a good night's sleep. And close your curtains. Bye bye!